Hi friends, today I'm going to show you how to modify a dress to create something like this. In a few seconds, I'll show you what this looked like before I start cutting into it and explain to you why I decided to add some elements to it to kind of make it a little bit more fun. And these are things that you can use when you're sewing to add a little more pizzazz, a little more style, or maybe even make something look like it costs a little bit more money to your garments. Happy sewing! I'm talking about this little tent dress, prairie dress, something. Now, a lot of the things that I make, I use from found fabric. So this is from a local thrift shop. And then this lace is a stretch lace from a friend, an older project, I'm not sure. And what I like about it is it's nice for summer. I like that it has size variants because I don't try to make things too specific. If I'm going to sell them on my website, I like to have a little bit more open-ended sizing. But where I failed is that I made the arm way too small, which is fine. It fits a certain size range of people, but I feel like we can do better. And another thing I don't like is that I really, really wish I'd had enough of this striped fabric to have made this first gather skirt about this length and then add a second one that's also gathered. So it just needs more than whatever this is. So what I'm going to do is take this fabric, this fun little polka dot, and I'm going to cut this probably right about here, save the bottom part and cut that into a couple strips, make a gather out of this to add on, and then add that back onto the bottom. So hopefully that'll bring in the polka dot in a really cool way. And for the sleeves here, I'm just going to open this up and do something kind of interesting and cool to make it so that size adjustable at the sleeve. And well, fingers crossed. So let's get sewing. Okay, what I have done is this is the edge I cut off. And as you can see, I then cut them in half. But I left this side a little longer, and that's because this side has a hem on it. So no need in making my life any harder. I'll just add a hem to this, and then they should be roughly the same length. Now I've gone ahead and cut 2 lengths of the polka dot, which will then be gathered at the top and added to this. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is take my gather foot, which might look something like that. And I'm going to first, before putting the gather foot on, I'm going to stitch at just one side of the 2 long pieces together. So you have one really long strip. Once that's stitched, just a straight stitch and serge it if you can. Then I'll put my gather foot on and gather along this whole top here. And we have ruffles. Okay, here we have the ruffle attached. Looking better. And as I predicted, I do have a little bit extra, but not that much. So we'll just set this aside and save it for if we need it. Next, I'm going to attach this to the bottom of here. Now, because I don't have too much of this, and I feel like this length in total is probably close to how much of the polka dot we used, I'm not going to ruffle this. I'm just going to add it to the bottom, and hopefully it will look cool. Oh, it's already better. It's already getting there. This is what it looks like with that extra ruffle. And it's been serged, so it's all clean and lovely. And now let's focus on what to do here. So my plan is to open this up and slice down into the top of the shoulder, maybe about here. And I'm going to do something that might be a little controversial. I'm going to put in a little bit of a cold shoulder, which I know might be a little dated, but what's going to happen is I'm going to add more polka dot fabric around about the same length as this band, and there'll be long ties on either side. And then the area that I sliced down into, I'm going to edge with a bias tape of the polka dot around it. So if it's pulled and tied, you probably won't even see that, but if you need it to be a little bit bigger, it'll just be like a little light opening. It's not anything dramatic. And hopefully I don't completely ruin this dress, but I need to incorporate this polka dot up here and somewhere though. And then lastly, I was thinking it might be kind of fun to do a little sash belt because sometimes you want to show off that you have a waist. I have cut the top. Ooh, no going back now. I've cut some little strips on the bias, and these will be stitched all together, and then you can use a bias tape tool for your iron, or you can just fold one side and then fold the other, and that'll go around the part that I've cut from the top of the shoulder down. And then lastly, the part of the ruffle that I didn't use, I took out the ruffle on it, and I think probably this is slightly too big to be just one side. I kind of want the lengths on either top of the shoulder to be long enough to where you can have a nice little fun floppy bow. So I think I'll cut out 3 more of these, but probably slightly shorter and a little bit smaller because it doesn't need to be this wide even with seam allowance. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I'll get sewing and I'll show you when I'm done, I guess. This is what the openings look like with the bias tape covering. So it's not too overwhelming, and even if it's open and tied, that's actually pretty darn cute. Okay, now to make some ties for the shoulder. And then I think I have definitely made this something I am more happy with. And we're done. So much better. So much more fun. I'm excited to see who buys this and wears this. And of course, you have to put your label in it. There's an optional belt here. And this back strap is just to hold the sleeves up, but you can cut it out if you don't need it. And then these are ties at the side that are optional. So my point in sharing this video was to show you that you can even buy things at the thrift store that might be similar to this, and with a little tweaking and some fun, make them a little bit more exciting, a little bit more you maybe, or just a little bit more something, a little more, just a little more. It's so much better. If you like this dress, visit my website for more one-of-a-kind and handmade items. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel.